Hi everybody, and welcome to this revision video on resilience as part of psychological health and well-being for stage 2 psychology. Let's get started. So let's go through what resilience actually means. So resilience is defined as the process of adapting well in the face of adversity, trauma, tragedy, threats, or significant sources of stress, such as family and relationship problems, serious health problems, or workplace and financial stressors. So put simply, it means to bounce back or bouncing back from difficult experiences. So this is not to say that resilient people don't experience adversity and heartache and sadness. They do. But if someone is resilient, it means that they bounce back or they are very good at adapting in the face of a lot of negative stress or negative life events. So a modern definition of resilience, or another way of looking at it, and this is from your workbooks, all right, is advancing despite adversity. So goal orientation, work towards your vision, being proactive and not waiting for adversity, and, both large and small everyday challenges. So advancing despite adversity, or ADA. So there are several factors that can affect our resilience, both in a positive way and a negative way. And of course, we divide them up according to the biopsychosocial model. So in other words, there's biological factors that increase or affect resilience, psychological, and of course, social. So let's start with biological. Surprise, surprise. Number one, having enough sleep. So having a healthy amount of sleep enhances physical health and supports mental health and increases resilience. So getting enough sleep is super important. I hope you guys have realized that by now by going through this topic. Now, adrenaline can be a protective factor. It keeps us strong in times of immediate stress. So as I've said in previous videos, not all stress is a bad thing. So having adrenaline release to excite us or motivate us when we're a little bit stressed can be a good thing and a protective factor. And it obviously can keep us strong in times of immediate stress and make us more productive. If we're more productive, we're more in control, and it's going to build our resilience. Similar to that, cortisol can help us to handle longer-term stress. Again, it shouldn't lead to gas, obviously. It shouldn't be long-term chronic stress. But in the short term, cortisol can help us to handle long-term stress in a healthy way, as long as it's maintained and controlled and it doesn't lead to gas, obviously. Exercise, as I said in a previous video, helps to release endorphins, all right, which are feel-good chemicals, and put the body into a parasympathetic type state, and is very, very good at building more resilient individuals. Eating well, so a healthy, balanced diet. So eating well most of the time and then indulging just now and then is obviously okay. I've probably said this in class, but a lot of people go by the 80-20 rule. So eating healthy 80% of the time and then eating whatever you want 20% of the time, because we need to obviously eat healthy eat well to stay healthy. And then sometimes we just need, to be a little bit indulgent to stay sane. So eating overall, everything in moderation, a healthy, balanced diet, however, can make us feel better because we're obviously getting the vitamins and the nutrients that we need. That helps us feel well, that strengthens our immune system and makes us overall more resilient. And of course, minimal use of drugs and alcohol as a coping strategy. So not, misusing drugs or alcohol, using it in an appropriate and typical social setting is obviously okay, but not depending on it to cope with stress or cope with mental health or illness. So psychological factors that increase or affect resilience include the following. So we need to look at all of the factors here. So cognition, having a positive mindset and seeing the optimistic side of life. I talked about that in a previous video. The perception, so the belief that we can perform behaviors necessary to cope, and the belief that things will turn out positively. So even though we may be going through a very stressful time right now, things in the end will turn out positively. We just need to make it through this stressful time, and perceiving that and choosing to perceive that will obviously increase our resilience. Emotions, finding meaning in stressful life situations. So sometimes life sucks, let's be honest, but trying to find a lesson or meaning in certain situations can also help to build our resilience and increase our overall mental health and well-being. Learning obviously goes into this as well. This is our fourth topic that we're going to look at. So school achievement, IQ, and problem solving. So this doesn't mean that a person needs to have the highest IQ by any means, but choosing to actively learn and engage in a school environment or work environment then leads to more increased more increased likelihood, I should say, of being able to solve problems in a very healthy and productive way. Memory, all right, so remembering that you are supported and how you have coped well before. So what's worked before that's worked well for you, remembering that you are supported, you have people in your corner, you have support services or support networks that are there for you and are more than happy to listen. And having that memory and having that awareness is obviously going to increase our resilience. Going back to our first topic, the trait theory. High levels of stability and openness, according to Eysenck's dimensions and the Big Five trait theory. So high levels of stability on Eysenck's dimension and high levels of openness as well often lead to an increased resilience in individuals. So looking at the social factors that affect resilience. So relationships, obviously, we know how important those are for us as human beings. So having caring and supportive relationships within and outside of the family will obviously help us to increase our resilience, knowing that we've got a good support network and we've got our squad, as I call them, that you can call upon when, you know, the poop hits the fan and you need to reach out and you need to talk to someone or access support services. And obviously there are key relationships in your life. Socioeconomic advantage, so having a steady income and access to support services, as I said before. School and work, so a positive school or a positive work environment is also going to affect and build our resilience to be higher. School achievement, so recognition of achievements in school or work. Again, this doesn't necessarily have to be strictly academic. This can be sporting achievements, pro-social achievements, certain awareness campaigns that, a class or a year level might be involved with, just recognition of achievements and, being positively reinforced for that will build our resilience up. And having a sense of cultural pride, so being active and a positive participant in cultural and community pride, so being involved in community groups or sporting groups or dance groups and being proud of the community that you belong to also helps to build our resilience. So there are several factors that can promote and increase our resilience. A lot of them take time and it takes effort. It's not just going to come to us, as it's probably obvious. We need to work at building our resilience, and it is really looked at now as a skill. So we can increase our resilience, but it's up to us to put in the effort. But when we do, we tend to be more happy and more resilient individuals. And of course, it's all derived from the famous biopsychosocial model. So I hope you found this video useful. As always, if you've got any questions, let me know.